And so, it begins. Dark were the skies and chill was the wind as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did crowd for a savior, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shimmering metal from head to toe. Wielding a terrible broadsword, he did cleave his foes in two, smashing their ranks asunder with righteous fury. And when the day was done and the enemy strewn across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and say, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic.
One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Yes, indeed, folks. Welcome to Blue Please on WoW Radio. With myself, Total Biscuit, it's good to be back. I must apologise profusely for the last couple of weeks. Been absolutely exhausted. I don't know what it's been. Lack of caffeine, too much caffeine, who knows? Whatever the case, I've not been particularly well, and I've been kind of in the state where I've been absolutely and totally exhausted by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, which sucks. I must point out, it really, really sucks. I'm very sorry. Hopefully that will never happen again. So what we got coming up in the show for you this week? It's content from wall to wall, and I certainly do not have any time to waste. So, Vault of Archivon, yay or nay? Everyone should have been in the Vault of Archivon by now. The easiest joke excuse for a raid encounter ever devised by Blizzard. Go have a look at the positive and negative aspects of the introduction of this particular raid into World of Warcraft and see where that leads. Also, brand new hot off the press... Try again. Brand new hot off the presses information about Ulduar. Yes, indeed. Only came out about an hour or so ago. If you keep your eyes on MMO Champion, you'd be aware of what's going on. If you don't, well, I'll be telling you and talking about it. Indeed, it's very interesting information, particularly as relation to the Sartharian raid encounter. Oh, yes. Want to be some good stuff. Also, Total Halibut's Enchanting Bonanza. Yes, I figured out a way to make money by enchanting, although the amount of work I've had to put into doing so, you would not believe. I'll be talking to you about my experiences over the past couple of weeks, turning this horrible excuse for a profession into a license to print money, and how to do it. Well, most of my secrets. I'm certainly not going to release all of them, that I can tell you. Also, I shall be reviewing the WoW Miniatures game. Yes, I managed to get a hold of a copy of this, the Deluxe Starter Core Edition of the WoW Miniatures game, and I've been having a good long play with it. Oh yes, good long play. And I shall be giving you my impressions of this particular piece of merchandise a little bit later on in the show. Also, we of course will end the show with the one and only Illusion of Choice. Yes, shattering your illusions of choice only here on Blue Please. You can email the show with your choices for the last topic of today's show. themurloc@gmail.com is the place to email. That is themurloc@gmail.com. Oh yeah. And you can choose the topic. And the best topic will be the last 15 minutes of this show. Oh yes. Now, let's get into it, because we do not have any time to waste. Vault of Archivon. What is the Vault of Archivon? For those of you who are not aware of the Vault of Archivon, the Vault of Archivon is a single boss raid encounter that is available to those who have conquered the Fortress of Wintergrasp, which I must say is an incredibly enjoyable PvP encounter. It is amazing. Whoever designed that, and indeed who designed the Strand of the Ancients, there are a few issues with Strand of the Ancients, but you know, the actual design of Strand is pretty cool. Wintergrasp is awesome. Wintergrasp is so much fun. I'm really enjoying that. It's not exactly difficult by any stretch, but it feels like an actual war for once, you know, as opposed to the canned battlegrounds. Capture the flag in the name of the Alliance, yeah. Good lord. You might want to go over to Israel and Palestine and tell them to capture the flag's actually the way we make war these days. Sorry guys, you're 50 years behind. No. It doesn't work out so well. But yeah, Wintergrass was great fun. However, the Vault of Archivon, it's this single boss raid encounter, and it's just... How to describe it? It's that easy that you can really do it in your sleep. I mean, it's barely even difficult enough to qualify as being a raid encounter. And I'm not just talking about 10-man version either. I'm talking about 25-man. Right? Here's how it works, yeah? The only possible way that you can wipe on VOA is if you are asleep. And I'm not kidding. I mean, if your DPS is too low, I can understand, but for your DPS to be too low, your entire raid has got to be in level 75 questing greens. And even then, you've got to be slacking. It's that easy. It's like, this encounter is a check as to whether or not you, one, have tanks. Yes, you do have tanks. Okay, that's half the encounter done. Can you move? Yes, you can move. Can you avoid standing in the horrible stuff, whether it be spikes or clouds of dust? If yes, you win. Here's some tier 7.5 quality loot. Not only that, but here's some, like, tier 3 level PvP loot. I mean, that's just insane. Right now, I mean, with the current state of PvP the way it is, getting the tier 3 arena setting is actually harder than pretty much every encounter in Wrath of the Lich King. It's really sad. But even then, getting tier 7.5 for being able to move and throw depths at boss is just ridiculous. I mean, let me give you an example. Over the past month, I've got 2 pieces of tier 7.5 quality loot from this stupid encounter. That's loot that I am not going to have to spend DKP on. That's loot that I'm not going to have to go kill for with my guild. And I mean, it's not bad loot either. It's not like the gloves. I'm talking about the legs and the chest here. It's stuff that drops from some of the, quote, harder bosses in Nax 25. They call it harder. I think the idea of relativity in this case is being taken a little bit too far. It's like, yes, it's hard in comparison to VOA. Everything's hard in comparison to VOA. Zul'Gurub's hard in comparison to VOA. Molten Core is hard in comparison to VOA. I've never seen a stupider encounter in my life. It's the laziest, most ridiculously easy encounter that anyone has ever put together. I mean, it's just nuts. I can't fathom it. I really can't. It speaks volumes that killing one Alliance Paladin, one Alliance Protection Paladin with 20 buffs of tenacity is a harder raid encounter than VOA. It is. You need like 25 people to take the Paladin down. And you know what? You'll probably die in the attempt. Oh, it's a Paladin with 100,000 hit points. And it hits us for like 15k auto shot. I say auto shot. Yeah. You get 20 buffs of tenacity. Paladins become hunters. It's horrendous. I've never seen anything like it. So, what's the rationale? I mean, there's got to be some kind of design methodology behind making an encounter so easy and drop such amazing loot. Well, I suppose one of the first arguments you can put out to say that, oh, VOA's alright. It's not ridiculously imbalanced in every possible respect. It is not the very embodiment of casual epics, welfare epics. It's made flesh, or should I say made stone, the idea. Well, I suppose you can make the argument that because it's incredibly random and he's got a loot table the size of the Eiffel Tower, that yes, I suppose the chances of you getting the exact piece of loot that you're after are pretty damn slim. Well, yeah, you're right, except for the fact that in the past month I've got 2 pieces of tier 7.5 quality loot, and would have got a piece of tier 3 mage PvP loot had I not been outrolled on it. Heck, the last 2 raids I've been the only mage in the raid. It's guaranteed loot. If anything Frostfire drops or anything tier 3 mage drops, that's it. That's mine. And I haven't even done anything for it. I feel guilty just taking that loot. I mean, I really do. I'm wearing this loot and I feel like, I don't deserve this. Not for what I've just done. That was 5 minutes work. And it wasn't even hard. It's not like killing Malagas in 5 minutes or whatever. That's pretty challenging. But no. I get gear that's almost Malagos level. And all I have to prove is that I'm awake. It's like that achievement that you got for the 4-year anniversary. It's like the Still Alive achievement. Congratulations, you are still subscribed to our game. Here's an achievement and a free pet. Good lord. You have logged in. Here's an achievement for doing so. You know, I don't buy into the whole it's so random that it's okay argument. It's still loot that is probably going to go to somebody in the raid. Yeah, okay, it's random. Big deal. That's 4 pieces of loot that are still most likely, you know, I can't think of a situation where it wouldn't happen, will most likely be taken and used by someone who does not have loot of that quality. Not even close. Yeah, I've seen guys in there who are doing less DPS than the tank walk away with 7.5 or tier 3 loot. I mean, for God's sake, getting tier 3 PvP loot is hard. You know, maintaining that kind of level of personal rating, that's difficult. Hell, it's harder than Wrath PvE content right now, which is incredibly sad, because I used to mock the PvPers, and now I don't feel like I can anymore. I feel like what I'm supposed to have been doing, what I've been enjoying for the past 4 or so years, is so easy and so entitled casual. You know, I don't really like using that phrase, but I think in this case it's kind of required. It's like, hey, look, we've won Wintergrass, let's all go and get some free loot. It's pathetic. So, I do wonder what the rationale behind it is. This is like, hey, let's give people a stepping stone into PvP. It's like, right, okay, let's start it off. Let's start with the PvP argument. You've already got a stepping stone to PvP. You can craft yourself a full set of fairly functional PvP gear for next to no money. Nothing. I mean, I'm in a team that's about 1,600 right now. We're not that great. We don't even try. But I'm wearing this blue Frost Savage stuff, and I'm still alright. I'm not even spec PvP. I'm spec bloody Frostfire. If you spec Frost or Arcane Nuke burst damage, I'd actually do a lot better. But we're not even trying. We're not spec'd for PvP. It's not hard to get that entry-level gear now. You can get the 2 rings. You can pay honor. You know, and it's very easy to earn that much honor. I mean, for God's sake, I got the PvP ring, the Vengeful Gladiators or whatever they call it. And I was barely even trying. I was just doing, like, the Battleground Daily and maybe the odd Wintergrass. But I earned it in a few days. I wasn't even putting in too much of an effort to get what is a reasonable quality piece of equipment. So no, I don't buy into that argument. People don't need entry-level gear to help them get started in PvP, because it's already there. And tier 3 level gear is not entry-level gear. I do wonder what the PvPers actually think of this. It's like, hey, we spent all of this time getting this amazing personal rating. We're really good at what we do, and it's an entirely legitimate playstyle. Now, I'm not really big into PvP, but I entirely understand why people would be. It's pretty cool, it's pretty fun, it's just not my thing. And then these guys walk in with a set of tier 3 that they haven't even got from trying. For God's sake, they got it from a damn raiding counter. It makes no sense. You know, I just can't fathom it. I mean, we've had plenty of PvEers complain that you get epic raid quality loot from PvP, and now it's the other way round? I mean, do you want to alienate everybody? I mean, is that the way it is? Because, I mean, yeah, I know how it is. A lot of the player base is really, really stupid. And they're incredibly entitled. You know, you call them entitled casuals for a reason. There's a difference between casual players and entitled casuals. Casual players are people who, you know, play on a casual basis, and that's okay, but they don't expect handouts, which is what, entitled casuals require. They demand it, they cry for it, they whine for it, they scream for it at the top of their damn lungs. And it's pathetic. I hate seeing it. And I hate it when they're catered for. I think whatever Blizzard were aiming for with VOA, that I think they've missed the point. Nax is already easy enough. Everything is pretty much easy enough. Now, Malagos is the only challenging encounter. Southarian 3 Drake, sure, but again, that's optional. But we're going on to that a little bit later on. Malagos is relatively challenging. It's not the hardest encounter I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination. Anyone remembers wiping on Cthulhu for 4 or 5 months? Yeah, that was a proper raid encounter. Wiping on Nefarian for however long? Yeah, proper raid encounters. Even Ragnaros, for God's sake. Now, Malagos in comparison is pretty much a joke. It's mostly a gear check more than anything else. It's not hard to get this tier 7 or this tier 7.5. Hell, Nax is being pugged already. And has been being pugged for the past few weeks. Successfully, I might add, by servers which are not all that great. I mean, we're not just talking about Magtheridon or Kazakh here. You know, the big servers. The servers where you've got a lot of very successful PvE raid guilds. We're talking about low-pop servers. And servers which have barely been up for a few months that are doing this stuff. Most of the bosses in Nax pretty much expect you to walk in there and say, okay, can you depths? Can you tank? Yes. Can you heal? Yes. Can you occasionally move out of whatever, whatever the new equivalent of the fire is? Yes. Okay, here's some free loot. And lots of it. Have 4 pieces per boss. Not only that, but have Valorous tokens that can be handed in for yet more loot. We're drowning in it. I've barely been 80 a few weeks, and I pretty much almost got my set. I'm already on my 4-piece set bonus. Most of my gear is at least serviceable epic level, if not best in slot, and I'm barely even trying. I barely even scratched my DKP. I maybe bought 3 items for decent DKP. Everyone else is just like, no, we don't need these items, we're just getting so many of them. We're maybe saving for best in slot from Malagos or whatever, or Kel'Thuzad. You could just have it. Here, take it. We don't need it. There's too many epics. Give them out like candy. So yeah, I think VOA is symptomatic of this really terrible attitude that's turning epics into common quality items. It's not epic if you get 10 in a run. It's not epic if in 5 minutes you get the best in slot for doing nothing. That's not epic. It's vendor trash more than anything. It's greens. I'll put more effort into questing. I don't get it. Hell, maybe we should just give the epics in quests and now give out greens in raids. Probably make more sense. You listen to Total Biscuit on WoW Radio with Blue Please. I'll be right back after this wonderful jig. Enjoy.